All right, Denise.
Okay, am I able to take control to move the slides as we go along?
Let's see.
Or I could just tell you hit button, that's easy enough.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Hit button.
Hang on.
You're gonna love the next screen, ladies.
Which, did you send me a new PowerPoint?
No.
Oh, okay. This is it, right?
No, that's the first page.
This one?
I'm only seeing one page. I'm seeing the Behavior Helpline Training Week 2.
So you're not seeing it advance?
No. Is
Great.
anybody?
I'm seeing everything, including the Walt Disney bunny, the real bunnies.
I'm now seeing number 15. Okay, well. Okay. I'm able to move mine individually. Okay, well, are we on the bunny?
We were.
Okay, well, there's a cute bunny.
So did you make any changes to it?
No.
Okay. Can you, all right. How the hell do I get rid of this now? There we go. Oh, is it gone?
Yep.
Oh my God.
I'm glad it's not just me.
I hate being under the gun with time though. That makes me so annoyed because I literally only have till 6. Okay. So you can see it now, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, it's
Yes.
advancing. Okay, I'm going to make a quick comment on this bunny because this has been coming up a lot now that it's spring. People have been saying, I see a rabbit in my yard. I don't know if it's wild or domestic. If you look at this rabbit, would you say it's wild or domestic?
Domestic.
This one is, but a lot of people, there was recently a rabbit that was, even all of us rabbit people said, you know what, we can't tell. So some of the domestic are very similar to wild. We're watching the behavior and the facial features. So if somebody calls about a rabbit that they don't know if it's wild or domestic, that's a tricky one. Okay, next slide. All right, what you have to keep in mind for common behaviors is that rabbits and guinea pigs are prey animals. They are somebody's dinner. They have no other purpose in life, according to the animal world, than to be eaten. So every single one of their behaviors and actions are to get away from being eaten. And you have to keep that in mind. You can't just reach in and grab them. You can't hover over them. They're also, because they're prey animals, a sick animal is easy prey. So they always hide medical conditions. Usually by the time an owner notices it, a lot of times it's too late. So if somebody does call in that they've seen medical issues, praise them for even noticing. That goes a long way. And the best way to know if they have medical issues is pay close attention to what their normal eating and drinking and bathroom habits are. Do they leave their salad until morning, as some of mine do, or do they gobble it right down? Has there been a change in behavior of bathroom? Are they all of a sudden going out of their litter box, or they're taking a long time to go? Are they not drinking a lot of water? Do they seem not interested in eating? So if you know what normal behavior is, it's easier to not know what normal is. And the biggest issue with rabbits is GI status. It's just, we just call it GI because rabbit systems shut down. And if they feel bad, they don't eat, and their bodies constantly need food in it to keep the system going. A lot of times we say, if you're trying to get your rabbit to eat, give them a piece of lettuce, romaine, or celery, something, not celery, cilantro, something they like, and wet it down to get some moisture into their system. but that's critical for them.
So I purposely put the long definition of what GI stasis is because it's so common. I'm sure, Denise, you get calls about this, but I was working with Danielle here in Dedham today, and she is very much a Smallies person, and that was one of the first things she brought up. So it's really, really important. So when you're in the topic of calls that you might get, we always, like we talked about last week, we talk about ruling out medical, and this is something that's really important when it comes to rabbits and Smallies in general. Again, because it's much harder to identify that there is an actual issue. Therefore, as Denise said, you want to pay very close attention to what their normal routine of eating, drinking, and bathroom habits are in order to identify what issues may come up. So just pay close attention to those sort of things, especially when you're talking to people that are having trouble behaviorally.
I will tell you that on all my rabbit Facebook pages, it's the most common question. My rabbit stopped eating. My rabbit's lethargic. Unfortunately, most owners say, I don't understand. I woke up this morning and my rabbit didn't, or I went to feed him dinner and he was dead, because they do hide it really well and people aren't as in tune.
Yep.
The perfect situation is you already have a rabbit savvy vet who knows your rabbit and knows you, and you can call them instantly and get your rabbit in there really quick. So the first thing we always say is get them to the vet. If it's the middle of the night, and like around here, the dentist's emergency vet, they don't do rabbits. They look at you funny if you went in with a rabbit. So we don't have any options in the middle of the night. And so we have to, okay, if you don't have an option, then these are different things you can do.
So here's the caveat to that, however. Obviously, the helpline, we always want to go back to behavior because that's the purpose of it. And then if a medical condition or a medical issue comes up, you also want to be able to say, okay, let's talk about what it could be medically before we go into behavior, which is really different. Like, this is a different animal, so to speak, when it comes to issues versus the dogs and the cats. So it's a little bit different. I think before we continue, I just want to make the comment too, that if you get a call about small animals or rabbits and you're not 100% sure about what to say and what to offer, then again, the same rule applies, so to speak. We don't give any advice, but you can take down the information and the issue that they're having and then talk to Denise about it. So she will take over and be able to help, and you guys can follow through and maybe, hang on to the call with them and go through the process with Denise. But the point is I want you guys to sort of be able to field the calls and then, refer them over to whomever. So if it's cats, it's Marna. If it's Smallies and rabbits, it's Denise. The purpose of this webinar / PowerPoint presentation training tonight is mostly to help to make sure that you feel comfortable helping and knowing as much as you possibly can. Today about rabbits, we're just specifically talking about rabbits.
And if there is a sudden change in behavior in a rabbit, it usually is either medical or hormones.
Okay, great.
You can switch. All right. People think rabbits are completely silent. They're not. They're very talkative, but in a very quiet way, normally. They do a lot of grunting and growling. They grunt. They're very opinionated. I also consider the vocalization, even though it's not listed here, of their thumping. They give attitude with thumps. They'll grunt at you. They'll growl at you. Teeth grinding. Now, it's interesting because they labeled it buzzing, which I never heard it termed before, but there's two types of teeth grinding. One is I call it tooth purring. And you're petting them, they're snuggling with you, they're happy as could be, and they start grinding their teeth. And it's tooth purring. And you will hear that.
Marna.
I love it.
You know, a lot of people, when they first hear, oh my God, what is that? Because rabbits aren't supposed to make noise. Now, there's a definite difference between tooth purring and tooth grinding. And if you know your animal and what it sounds like purring, when you hear a grinding because they're in pain or uncomfortable, you will say, that's not normal. There's a distinct, and I don't even know how to describe it, but you will know the normal, calm, happy tooth purring versus the tooth grinding where they're just trying to bear up and not cry out, which is the next thing, whimpering and squealing. The whimpering doesn't sound like a whimper that you would hear of a dog. It's just this odd noise that comes out of, and you turn around and go, what's that? Mm-hmm. And it's a very strange, I've never heard one squeal, luckily.
Not good.
Yeah, probably now all 8 of mine will squeal. I have heard screaming. I've heard it in a wild rabbit being attacked by a coyote, and I heard it in one of my Frosters when she first came in and was so petrified. It is it's a gut-wrenching sound. It's horrible, and if your animal's screaming, they're either petrified or in so much pain they're dying. You don't want to hear screaming.
I have one question. Is there any way physically, behaviorally, to distinguish between the teeth purring and the teeth grinding? Do they lay their ears down? Do they struggle? Do they wiggle? I'm a cat person. I wouldn't know how to tell the difference or how to help someone distinguish.
Okay, well, we will get to ears, the way they talk with their ears. Teeth grinding is a more definite, harder sound.
Does their jaw move differently or the same?
No, because you really don't see their jaws moving.
Oh.
You know, it's so subtle under the fur, you don't really notice.
Okay.
If they're tooth purring, they're in a relaxed pose. Their ears are relaxed, their body's relaxed. Teeth grinding, their feet are up under them, their ears are flat on their back. They're sitting, their stomach is as flat to the ground, they're hunched up. So it's the whole body language that's telling you that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Good question.
So just before we start this list, it's a very long list. We will go through it as quickly as possible, but we might be here for a little bit just because there's a lot. The idea of the list, there will be a handout. I think I already sent it just a few minutes ago. The handout that we're following, I have to send Denise's handouts too. And then also this PowerPoint, so you guys can follow along that way too. But I do encourage you, again, because this is just a list, there will be a lot of things that Denise will be going through as she goes through the list. So I encourage you to A, take a lot of notes, and B, feel free to ask questions.
Yes, and there is one thing on that handout for rabbit behavior that I do not agree with the cage, and I'll get into that later. Okay, Binky. This is the thing you want to see all the time. Binky means they're happy. Binky means they're kicking up their heels and yippee, this is fun. Babies binky all the time. As they get older, they don't binky as much. You have some rabbits who are huge binky fans and others who, if you see a binky twice in their lifetime, it's a lot.
Oh, and by the way, sorry, as I was preparing for this, I went through every one of these and tried to find video, and it is really fun to do. So in your spare time, if you're looking for video of any of this, it is absolutely adorable. I had to stop like halfway through because it was just, I couldn't do it. It was just spending too much time. But anyways, that being said, again, feel free to go through some videos.
Oh yeah, Binky's hysterical boxing. Yeah, they all are. Boxing, they box at you, and I've had this happen. They'll box at you. A common one is as I'm changing them, they're changing out their bedding. They don't like the way I'm doing it because I call bunnies the interior decorators of the animal world. So they go up to me, kind of half sit up and box at me like, leave that blanket alone. It's not an attack thing. It's the way they're communicating that they don't want you to touch that. They also will box at each other when they're, especially wild animals. That's one of the ways they fight.
I saw a video of that too. That was really funny.
Oh, some of those are hysterical. The ground, yes. Bunching. Going back to the interior decorators of the bunny world, of the animal world. You will put a blanket down. You think dogs rearrange their beds a lot in their blankets? Rabbits, they'll just push and pull and bunch it and they'll be biting at it and they rearrange everything. So they want their beds a specific way. And if you want to torment a bunny after they spend 10 minutes doing this, just spread it back out again and let them start again. You get the killer look. Yeah, you get a killer look. Bunny loaf. Bunnies do like to sleep in this position, as this handout had said, where their front and back legs is tucked underneath. It is also when a bunny has their feet and legs tucked underneath, a lot of time it's because they don't want to relax and they're on alert, ready to jump away. There's a difference between relaxed loafing, where they're just chilling, and the alert loafing, where they're ready to run. A true chilled bunny is further down on a flop. This is called human heart attack. When you look over and your bunny is, oh my God, she's dead. Their heads are laid back. They're just totally flopped out. They look completely dead. And you walk over and half the time they don't even wake up. And then they do, they give you an evil look like, why'd you wake me? So that's the flop. So I jumped ahead, but it goes in with the loaf. The bunny rug. Okay, this is the other, I never knew it was called that. That when they lay with their back legs kicked out behind them, there's a thing called Bunny Butt Friday. We all post our pictures of catching our bunnies' butts. And most of the time it's because their back legs are kicked out behind them and they're just relaxed and chilled. They're not worried about having to run away from a predator. They're just hanging out. And then you have, I'm sorry, I'm getting work emails which is what's pinging here. Burrowing. They love to burrow. They love to tunnel.
So burrowing looks similar to burrowing. Like if you think of burrowing, that's what it looks like. They're just, I mean, I don't know. Other animals burrow too. Yeah.
I have one bunny who makes a hole. I have blankets down on the floor for them. She makes a hole in the blanket and she literally makes burrows in and out, holes to go in and out, because that's what bunnies in the wild do. I have other ones who are stupid and go underneath and then can't find their way out, but that's their problem. And then chewing. Bunnies live to chew. Wood, electric wires, they love electric wires. You have to bunny-proof your house. So if somebody says, what can I do to stop my bunny from chewing electric wires? Bunny-proof the house. You can go to Home Depot or Lowe's and get these plastic thin tubes that pop over all your electric wires. They work great to protect it. Some people set up, like around their TV, an X-pen so that they keep the bunnies away from the wires. But bunnies, it's like a magnet to them. Woodwork, baseboard, chairs, table legs. Yeah, they live for wood, which is why you want to give them wooden things. Each of my bunnies has a wooden doll bed, a non-toxic, no paint, no chemicals. It was made out of natural wood. And they can chew their beds all they want. And they can sit on them with their little pillows, which they've rearranged. And they have something to chew. We also have the chew blocks. We give them willow balls. They love willow balls, apple sticks, willow sticks. You have to remember that bunny teeth grow continuously, just like guinea pigs. And so they have to chew. If they don't, their teeth can actually cut into their skin and they stop eating because it's so painful and they die. Chinning. Chinning to a bunny is, if I chinned it, it's mine. Which means that if you have a free-range bunny, your entire house is theirs, because I guarantee you they will go around and chin everything possible. My little boy Smudge has a routine every morning. He goes around in a circle and chins every single chair and table leg in the kitchen. Keeps him busy. I get chinned all the time. I got chinned by a rabbit at the Animal League the other day. The rabbit met me twice, decided it wanted to keep me, so it chinned my foot.
Oh,
Chinning is actually a compliment because they're not afraid of you. They're marking you as their own. If you have a bunny that circles, that's also a very good thing, because circling means they're happy to see you. They want to play with you, interact with you. There's some cute videos out there of bunnies running around in circles. It's just like a cat.
I think that's where I left off.
Yeah, you can't walk because the bunny is running in circles around you.
Oh.
Usually at the same time, they stand up, they do the posturing, periscoping, where they're standing up trying to get your attention. They'll put their front paws on your leg. They will also nip at your leg. Hey, you're not paying attention to me. So animals, a lot of times when you say, oh, my bunny bit me, ask them if they're displaying this kind of behavior, because they're not biting the person. They're
And what the context is. I think the context is really important.
Yeah, it's that they're trying to get your attention. I have one Froster right now that bit everybody at the shelter, volunteers and staff, including myself twice, because she was just biting to get attention. Now she gets a lot of attention. She hasn't, I shouldn't jinx it, but she hasn't bitten in 2 years.
Knock wood, knock wood.
Yep. Climbing. Bunnies are frustrated cats. They love to go high. We had some cat trees in the back room when I had the bunnies out a couple of weeks ago. I had one bunny kept on jumping on the cat tree. My bunnies jump on my couch and my chairs. They jump on the back of the couch. They love to sit up there and look out at the world, because the higher they are, the more dominant they are. But ironically, they're not crazy about being high on you because they feel like they're going to fall. Go figure. But they do love to get up there. So if you can give them, I have steps. I got a set of 3-step doggy steps for a bed, but I put them up to my couch. They love to go up and down there. You can even just have the steps that they lead to nowhere, but just go up there, or, cardboard boxes, solid cardboard boxes, a milk crate with a board on top so they can't fall through it. They love to climb. Digging. Digging goes back into the bunny rug thing and burrowing. Not the bunny rug, the burrowing. They love to dig. Some people will one woman set up a bunch of pebbles in a box and then put treats sprinkled around, and the bunny digs around the pebbles to find the treats.
oh.
They won't eat the pebbles?
No, well, she made sure they were big enough.
Yep.
That they were big enough the bunny couldn't get it. One woman she took a baby plastic swimming pool,
Oh, yeah.
put dirt, grew grass in it, and put it in her house.
Oh, my God.
She has her own bunny room, and the bunny digs in the grass, loves it.
Uh-oh.
What?
Denise, we lost you. She froze.
Oh dear.
Oh, dear.
Hello?
Denise?
Hello?
Okay, we can hear you now. You froze
Okay.
for a minute.
That's my crazy internet here.
I think we left off at digging and then moving on to ear position.
Oh, yes. Oh, I got a small ball pit with all the little balls. You can get ping pong balls, put them in a box, and they can dig in there. You put treats in between and pellets.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Ear position. If a rabbit has one ear forward and one ear back, they're listening to you. They're interested. but they're not relaxed. They're at attention, not panic attention. They're just paying attention. If both ears are forward, they're very engaged with you. And they're relaxed and they're paying attention to you. Now, of course, this is for ears that are upright. Forget the lop bunnies because they're just.
Well, I was going to actually ask you that question was, do they have deliberate control over their ears? But I guess it depends.
The upright do. The lop really don't.
Okay.
I haven't really seen my lops do much. Sometimes they're a little further back than otherwise. There are some lops that one ear goes up and one ear doesn't because the people will say, my bunny's broken. And if sometimes they do helicopter ears, you'll see a straight ear rabbit, all of a sudden the ears will be flat on either side. And you're like, what the? Just totally relaxed, chilling out.
Oh.
If the ears are back and the bunny's sleeping in a relaxed position, they could be back and just relaxed. But if they're pinned to the back,
Yep.
other than being pet or groomed, because then they put them back so they can be groomed. But if they're pinned on their back, they're afraid. That's usually accompanied by that position where their body's all tucked up, they're hunched up, they're flat to the ground, they're trying to be invisible. The rabbits talk a lot with their ears, and if you watch them and you know your rabbit, you'll be able to understand what they're saying by their ear position. Eyes. Rabbits talk so much with their eyes, it's scary. They can give you a look of, give me a treat, pet me, I hate you, WTF, I'm going to get even with you. I mean, they can roll their eyes. They can make such looks. There is one of the comments, if you see the white of the bunny's eyes, that means they're so petrified. But I have one rabbit, my really smart one, that when she's chill, the whites of her eyes come out and her eyeballs disappear. It's the weirdest thing, and she's the only bunny I've ever seen do that. So if you watch your bunny's eyes and their actions and the way they're moving around, it tells you a lot.
So again, it sounds like it's within context.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's very similar to other, like, so cats, dogs, it's within context. So you have to look at the whole picture.
And cats and rabbits are very similar in a lot of things. They're aloofness where they decide when they want to interact with you. You don't decide. They like to climb. They're really fussy. They're very diva-like. So, cat people can appreciate rabbit people. The ironic thing is that there are many rabbits and cats who live together very well, more so than dogs and rabbits, but cats and rabbits can get along very well. I think because they're similar personalities. What was the other thing I want to say with the eyes? Oh, sometimes you may get a weepy eye because, especially long-haired rabbits, they may get a hair stuck in there, a hair on a hair. You got that?
Yeah.
I have 2 rabbits that every morning they come to me to get their eyes wiped because they're both long-haired rabbits and their hair their tear ducts get gooked up and they get crusty stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. You just got to keep it clean because it's annoying to them. The flop. You've all seen pictures of bunny flops. This is the death flop where we stop breathing because we think they died.
So Denise, I have to take this. I'm going to leave you to it. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Thanks. I'm muting myself.
Okay. So the flop,
I lost you. I can't hear you, Denise. Can you hear me? Well,
hello?
you're back.
Okay. Okay. So the flop is that they're very relaxed and comfortable and trusting of you.
Sorry, it was spam.
The demand for grooming. Once a rabbit trusts you, they demand grooming. They come up to you. They pancake down. They put their body low. They put their head even lower than their body, their ears very flat back, and they're telling you they want to be pet. If you don't, sometimes they come up, they poke you, they nip at your pant leg, or sometimes they'll even box you, making a demand for grooming. Most of the time they come up to you though and pancake down. I was actually going to include a bunny on this to give you a demo, but I thought it would take too long.
And the other thing I was just going to say about grooming is I think I have a whole slide on grooming, so we'll talk about that specifically.
Yes.
I think.
And if you have two bunnies, they groom each other.
Grooming is a big deal for them.
Oh, yes. And you want to keep your bunny groomed because when they groom themselves, they cannot cough up hairballs.
Oh.
So that hair goes in their system, which leads to necklace poop, as we call it at the shelter. You'll get a strand of poop held together by bunny hair. And it could be just 2, it could be 20.
Oh my God.
Oh, frozen.
Gone again.
Am I back?
Yep,
Yeah.
you're back.
Okay.
So let's continue on because I have a whole thing on grooming. So
Okay.
One quick question. The necklace poop, that sort of thing. Is that something that needs action?
What I usually tell them is make sure your bunny has a lot of water. And when they're giving fresh salad, soak the salad. Make sure you wet it really good so they're getting water that way because the water helps loosen it up.
Okay.
And grooming, cat brushes work great. I just got a grooming glove that one of my bunnies who hates to be groomed loves the grooming glove. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, licking. They lick each other they lick each other like crazy. They lick their toys. If they have stuffed animal toys, they're constantly grooming their stuffed animal toys. If they lick you, that's a compliment. They think you're awesome if they lick you. They're grooming you. So that's a good thing. They're not tasting you to bite you. I had a little kid go, oh, tasting me? No, it's a good thing. Lunging. Lunging means you have an unhappy bunny. They're lunging at you to get away. You're moving their stuff. If they're in a cage, rabbits are very territorial. You should never reach into a cage. You should encourage your bunny to come out of the cage, whether it's to be free roam or in an exercise area or to come out for treats. But if you, this is where I see it most. If you reach into a cage, they're going to lunge at you to say, get out of here. It's a sign of disapproval. And talking about that in the handout that Lainey sent about cages, she was saying, this handout person was saying that you should never reach in. But I forgot what I was going to say about this. No, I'm going to have to get back to that. Sorry, I can't remember what I was going to say about that comment. There was something I don't agree on in there. Mounting. Rabbits mount each other. Sometimes they will mount their toys, your shoe. Obviously, if they're not spay or neuter, that's part of it. But mounting, if they are spay and neuters, a sign of dominance. And it's very common to see a rabbit mounting another rabbit's head. It's really weird. We always say they're confused, but it's a sign of...
Oh, frozen.
Hello?
Got you.
Okay. Two bonded rabbits, they mount each other on a fairly regular basis. I'm not saying every day, but once in a while just to prove who's dominant. If they're mounting and fighting, that's different. But most of the time it's just, keep an eye on it, but it's normal behavior for two bonded rabbits. As long as they're spayed and neuter. If they're not, then you might have a serious problem. And also females and females and males will mount each other. Again, it's dominance. It's not sexual. Nipping. Most of the time, the nipping is to get your attention. or they feel threatened. You put your hand in the cage and lunging didn't work, so they turn and bite you. Or one of the things they love to do, going back to their burrowing and their digging, a lot of times you pick up a bunny and they start burrowing into your shirt and nipping at your shirt. Well, you don't want to encourage this behavior because obviously you don't want to be bit, especially if you're holding them up on your chest. But they're just doing that to settle in. Now you tell them no. I bop them on the nose and say no. Or I turn them sideways. They don't do it when you're holding them in the crock of your arm, only when they're on, like the fabric. If they're in your lap, they'll try to burrow on your pants or your shirt. And when they nip, then they're not nipping at you. They're rearranging their stuff.
Yeah, they're trying to move the blanket or whatever it is. Like it's your pants, but they think it's a blanket that they can move.
Yeah, I've been bit on my leg through my pants because the bunny was sitting on my lap and wanted to rearrange my pants. They weren't comfortable enough, I guess. So a lot of times they're not biting you. That's what you need to stress. They're nipping because they use it as a way to move stuff.
So again, that goes along with the whole idea of context as well.
Yes. Yes.
I can't hear anybody.
Yeah, no, she froze again.
You have to read. Hello?
Okay, we're here.
Okay. Nose nudge. That's real easy. They're trying to get your attention or you're in their way. There could be a whole room of floor. And if they decide they want to be in that spot, they go up to you and nudge you with their nose to move. It's not aggressive or anything like that. It's just a way to communicate, move, or hey, look at me, pay attention to me. Periscoping is when they stand up on their hind legs and you go, oh, that's so cute. They're just checking everything out. Mine periscope to look out my windows because I have French doors and patio doors. They periscope to see what's around the corner. It's just something they do. It's not good, bad, or indifferent. It's just part of their action. Tail movements. If their tail is tucked underneath them, they're scared, they're panicked, or they're in pain. Most of the time, it's just laying out there on the side, on the back. Sometimes they push it to the side. I really don't read tail much because it's not as important as the other body language, but definitely if it's tucked under. Some rabbits, their natural way with their tail is to have it just laying in the back. I have one rabbit who has a crooked tail. It's always to one side, to her left. Another one, their tail is always up. So it depends what your normal behavior for your rabbit is versus abnormal. But again, as Lainey said, in the whole contents of the thing, throwing and thumping go together. Rabbits live to throw and thump. They love to throw their toys. They'll throw things in their area. They'll throw their water dish and food dish. That's always fun. You want the heaviest dishes you can possibly get for them. Thumping. Most thump because they're either saying, hey, warning, warning, there's something out there, or I'm really mad at you. You did something that I disapprove of. Some bunnies, we have one at the shelter, we named Thumper because she lives for the joy of thumping. A day without a thump from Thumper is not a happy day. She just loves to thump. And throwing, that's why some of the toys that are really good are the kids' balls that have opening, cat balls, the plastic balls with the bell in them. They love to make the bell ring. They have the little round, it's a cat toy, the rolling thing. They love that to pick up, things they can pick up. Willow balls because they can toss them and chew them. That's a double fun thing. They throw their boxes. They throw their towels. I mean, if they could, they'd probably throw each other. So they love to throw.
All right.
Yeah, I have a rabbit who'll just pick up something and just keep on throwing it up and down, like she's playing ball with herself.
All right, in the interest of time, let's continue.
Litter box training. It's real easy.
I guess my question is, instead of, I don't want to go through the whole, because anyone can, go online and see what litter box training is. I think what I'd like to do, Denise, is have you tell us what concerns people might be calling about when it comes to litter issues.
Okay. My rabbit is going outside the litter box.
Yep.
If normally they go in the litter box and all of a sudden they start going outside, they may have a urinary tract infection. You may want to get that checked out. You should get that checked out.
Okay, so again, going back to ruling out medical.
Right.
Okay.
My rabbit is chewing on his litter box. One of mine does this. You really can't do anything about that. Make sure they have plenty of chew toys. My rabbit's urine is red or orange or dark. Usually, most of the time, it's because of what you're feeding them.
And I would err on the side of caution, however, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't want you guys to be saying, oh, it's because you're feeding beets and carrots and all this. Because if you're wrong and something goes wrong, then, we could have a problem. So I would be more erring on the side of caution to say, okay, talk to your vet about this. This becomes like a medical.
And you can say, did something change in their diet or in the environment recently?
Yeah, because even going through all those questions is important with them, because then they can bring all those questions to the vet. So you're not particularly giving advice, but you're sort of dissecting it for them.
Right.
Quick question.
Yeah.
If they have, like a lot of time with cats, they'll say, I took her to the vet and he's given her a clean bill of health, and they're having litter box problems. If the bunny has no medical issues, but is going outside the litter box, what are the suggestions we can give them to help get the bunny back in the box?
Right. Well, rabbits like to go in particular areas. So what you have to do is note where they go. So if you move the litter box, they're still going to go where they always went. They don't care if the litter box is there. It might. Dawn and Brewster found that out when she watched my bunnies one day and forgot where to put the litter box. So a lot of,
They showed her.
Didn't make that mistake again. So they do have specific areas they like to go. The other thing is, if something changed in the household, if a new pet came in or a new person, or you have company, they may be going outside of the litter box just to mark their territory. Okay. And most of the time that's poo, not pee, luckily.
Oh.
If there's poo around the litter box, I say bunnies jump out of their litter box with enthusiasm. And unfortunately, the poo is like ping pong balls. It bounces out a lot. So you may want to put a mat underneath.
Okay.
The common one is, my rabbit has always been litter box trained, and all of a sudden he's going all over the place. Usually it means something changed in the environment or something medically is wrong. So that's the two questions you have to ask. What changed?
Okay. Another cats.
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah.
Okay.
They're very clean animals. They want to go in their litter box. Another thing that does happen is some rabbits, you should have, I put pillowcases in the bottom, but you should have like a puppy wee-wee pad or whatever, and then yesterday's news or something, not cedar shavings, that's very dangerous to them, and something to absorb their urine, and then put hay in there, because they're weird. They like to eat and pee at the same time.
Oh, God.
Come on.
Yeah, they do.
I'm not judging, guys. Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, we're frozen. Uh-oh. Are you there?
Hello?
There we are.
Okay. Some people think litter box should be changed once a week. They should be changed every day. Would you want to eat in poo?
I know, that's gross.
So one of the reasons they may stop using it is it's too gross for them. They're like, no, I'm not going in there.
So I think that's a really good point. So for cats, some cats are more particular than others, but with bunnies, you say sort of across the board that they're quite clean animals. So they want to have a clean area all the time.
Right. Yes. Okay. And there have been rabbits who once their litter box is dirty, they take all the hay, whether it's clean or dirty, in the litter box, and they shove it out of the box. I have one who actually flips her pillowcase over to hide the dirty poo.
Wow, interesting.
So they're very meticulous. But if they're pushing the hay out, that's common. But they should have hay in there. A nice setup, of which I have some, is I have a box, or you could have a wire hay rack that you hang right next to, or I have a box upright that I cut a hole in and I put the hay in there so they can sit in a little bit of hay in their poo box, but eat clean hay out of the box.
That's a nice trick. I like that.
Yes.
Yes.
Even though that's still really gross.
Well, I'm going to give you another gross one, part of litter box training that we get panic questions. My bunny's eating their poo.
Oh, no.
Right.
Yes. In the morning, every bunny in the morning does this poo that's called, and I'm saying it wrong, cecapode. You have to look up how to pronounce it. It is a long tubular, it looks like all the poos, tiny, wet, mushed together. And they eat it so they can get their double nutrition, because the nutrition in their system, since their body slows down when they're sleeping at night, they don't want to lose the nutrition. So they eat the soft poo in the morning. Some mornings you'll find this soft poo in the litter box or on the floor, and you'll go, oh my goodness, what's the matter with my bunny? And they'll call, or they'll call that they're eating the poo. It's perfectly normal in the morning for them to be doing this. I find the bigger problem is if they don't eat it quick enough or forget about it and step in it, you have poo smear all over.
Right. Good point. Good point.
Long-hair rabbits have a tendency for, sometimes as it's coming out of their butt, it sticks to their butt. So some long-hair bunnies have bunny butt problems where you need to wash their back end area with a washcloth, or I keep baby wipes on hand. You never ever bathe a bunny.
Yeah.
It will stress them and potentially kill them. But if you gently wipe their butt, my bunnies are very, very used to it.
I have a comment. Erin wrote that guinea pigs also eat their poop in the mornings too. Totally normal for them.
Yep. I was talking with Lainey. I'm going to do a fact sheet for guinea pigs too.
Yes, yes. And what we can do at the end, at the last week, is we can sort of finish up what we didn't finish. And also, even if we have to go, hopefully you guys are available, but even if we have to go an extra week, like now we can do the recordings, so I can add things as we go along, or even add an extra session that you guys can listen to, just so we're making sure that everybody has all the information. I just want to make sure that we have, everyone feels good about what they're hearing and is getting all their questions answered and such. Okay, so again, in the interest of time, let's move on. Again, any questions in the chat box, you can always email the group for sure. Definitely, email us. We have the group email for a reason. If one person has the question, that means other people might have it too. So definitely, that's another resource too, to email us. All right, so.
Oh.
That was one of the topics. So basically I created the PowerPoint based on, Denise had written up a couple of really great handouts, and I took out the ones that related to behavior the most, but also the ones that she felt were most important. So again, I'm gonna leave it to you, Denise, and I will be back in just a second.
Bonding with your rabbit, people think, oh, I brought my rabbit home, it's 2 days, and the rabbit doesn't like me. It could take months. The rabbit has to learn to trust you. Going back to the prey animal, it has to learn that you are not going to eat it. The best thing is to get at their level. Lay on the floor with them. Talk to them in a soft voice all the time. Never sneak up or reach for them overhead, because to them, you're a hawk coming down to eat them. So you want to move quietly, talk to them, brush them. One of the things I do is I lay in a small X pen with a rabbit, a new rabbit. And as they run by me, because they're running, they're trying to get away, I just put my hand out. And as they're running by, I just let my hand stroke their back. So they realize that I'm touching them, but I'm not hurting them, and they're still able to run away. They're not getting trapped or anything. So you just sit with them. Another good thing to do is just sit down in the pen with them or the room, read a book, listen to music, just sit there so that they get used to your presence. And then eventually pet them on the ground. Don't pick them up right away. Pet them on the ground. Give them treats on the ground. Play with them on the ground. Do everything ground level because that's where they're most comfortable. And then once they trust you and get more comfortable with you, then you could put them on your lap on the floor. Then move up to a chair. Then you can carry them around. But first you have to get that trust. And it's the greatest feeling in the world the first time your rabbit comes to you after running away.
Denise, they have in Dedham these things that you can put cats and kittens in that you wear and carry them around. Would something like that work for a bunny?
Well, it would be like they're in a burrow, so yeah, but they're not going to bond with you because they're just hiding in them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have one of those that I carry around my buns in. When my guinea pig was sick, I kept him with me all day in one of those things just so I could keep it. So yeah, but to learn to bond with them, they're just going to be hiding from you if they're in one of those little carriers.
Okay. Good point. Good to know.
All right. We good?
Yep.
I think we definitely talked about this. I think this is a rabbit yawning, but it looked like a bite. So I do think we talked about this a little bit. Just quickly, I would say reiterate the difference between an actual bite in context to what it is, the full picture, but then also the nipping part. Just a short reiteration of that, I'd say.
Okay, first of all, animals are quick. It's amazing how quickly and how painfully they can bite you. But if they're nipping you, it's just a little nip. There's a definite difference. And a nip is to get your attention or that they disapprove. A bite is because they're scared. They are protecting themselves. They are reacting. So a biting is a reacting where a nipping is an action, if that makes sense.
Yes.
It's a purposeful action where biting is a reaction.
Thank you.
I
We talked a lot about toys as well. I think this is a topic that we could go into pretty heavily. But I think one thing I would like you guys to do, and again, very similar to what we did with cats. So you had 2 weeks of getting yourself familiarized with cat stuff. I think the same thing's going to happen with rabbits. So what I want you guys to do is just get familiar with what sort of things are out there. Obviously, Denise will go through some things right now, but some things that are out there to have a good list of suggestions for people in case they are having behavior problems with their rabbits, such as the chewing and such, to make sure that they're getting enough enrichment and that sort of thing. So Denise, go ahead and take it away.
Rabbits get bored easy. They need toys. Also, take some toys out. Rotate the toys. They'll think they got new ones when they're old ones. Some of their favorite toys are cardboard boxes. And if you cut a little hole in a cardboard box, they love to customize it into a big hole to hop in and out of. They love not wax-coated cardboard boxes, cardboard boxes. If you Google rabbit toys, you will be amazed at what is out there. There are entire castles for them to play on. And there are wooden toys. A lot of the toys are similar to like parrot toys, like the one you see in this picture.
This looks very similar to what I give my birds.
Yes. And I actually, one of my rabbits downstairs has a bird toy that I confiscated from when I had birds that never got used. They love willow balls, things they can chew on, like I said before. Paper towel rolls, very popular, cheap.
Paper towel rolls, toilet paper rolls.
I don't like toilet paper rolls because I read a long time ago that when you flush a toilet, the spray from the toilet, and I did an experiment with a paper towel, and it sprays up to 3 feet away from the toilet, and most paper towel rolls are right next to the toilet, so it kind of grosses me out.
Toilet paper, not paper towel, right?
The toilet paper rolls,
Right.
yes. Paper
Okay,
towel
that's
rolls,
good to know.
yeah.
Great.
That's my own personal grossness thing.
No, that makes sense. I agree.
But you don't mind they're eating their poo, right?
You know, they're putting this in their mouth. We don't really need to.
Touche.
And it's interesting because when I go into a baby section of a store, I find toys for them. I just found these heart-shaped plastic cups, stacking cups. I have round baby stacking cups. I have those baby key rattles.
Oh, actually, now that you mention it, we did that for the birds and went to Savers or the Salvation Army or whatever, to those stores, because people donate that stuff all the time, and I get so much stuff for free. I'm not for free, but for very, very, very cheap. And that's another option for people if they're looking for inexpensive toys for their animals, so that they don't have to go into the expensive pet supply stores and such.
Yes. And there are a ton of toys available at rabbit specialty shops. One of the things that I put on actually, I don't think it's in your resources. Small Animal Resources is this woman who trains rabbits. She actually trains, she's a behavioralist for animals, but she does this with her rabbit Tulu. That's amazing. Cool. You should check her out, Small Animal Resources. And she does a lot of training. Right now, she's working on YouTube videos for training your rabbits, so when they're in a medical situation, they don't get nervous. Her rabbit takes from the syringe, sits on heating pads.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible what she's done with her rabbit. And I've incorporated a lot of her tips with my rabbits and the shelter rabbits, so it's good. Toys. Ramps, they like climbing. If you can make ramps out of little wooden things. I actually have I have tubes, those tunnel things that for cats. They love them, and they make a crinkle noise, and they have a pop-up hole to stick their heads out. They love those crinkle things. We get them donated all the time.
Yeah.
So the rabbits love them. What was the other thing I just thought of? They love going in and out of boxes, so I'll make like a whole village of boxes, and they just have a ball going in and out of that. People think I buy a lot of liquor, which I do buy liquor, but not, coming home with 10 boxes in my car. People think it's full of liquor, and they know me at the wine shop. Let's put it that way, because I come in, got boxes for me today.
So you were pretty clear about the type of boxes, however. The Amazon boxes that come through, it says Amazon and it has like the tape on it and stuff. Are those safe?
Pull the tape off.
Pull the tape off, okay.
But, I buy $100 worth of animal toys or willow balls, and I'm more excited about the box they come in, because the rabbits get a big kick out of that. Christmas time, I love all the boxes I get for the bunnies.
But the cardboard versus the plastic.
Not the wax coating.
The wax coating, okay.
Yes. Okay. And don't worry about the shipping labels, even if it has glue on the back, because I find they tend not to chew on those. They'd rather work on the cardboard part.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, they don't like the taste of it, so they just don't do it.
Okay. All right. There's our little fearful friend.
A fearful rabbit is one that has been abused, neglected, never handled. They come in, they shiver, they scream. They fling themselves against the wire of the cage or the pen. They will run from you. They will panic. They won't eat. They hanker down in a corner, burying their face in the corner. They don't want to see you. They're trying to hide. There is no better feeling in the world. I cry when I get an animal like this, and then they get to the point, and it's taken a year sometimes, up to the point where they come to you. I don't recommend a new rabbit owner ever getting a rabbit that's like this. It's just too discouraging, and they can make too many mistakes to make it worse. When I get a fearful rabbit like that, I let them decompress. I just leave them alone. I only go in to feed and water them. I do it very quietly. I talk to them the whole while. I will sit in the room and talk to them, read a book. They see my presence, but I make no attempt to make contact with them because it's just going to make it worse. And I give them time, and it takes a lot of time. When you have this type of rabbit, what you do is you try to put the litter box in a spot. Hopefully they use it in that spot where you're making minimum reach into the area. I'm lucky in that I have X-Pen set up. So when I'm reaching into the litter box, the rabbit can go into the opposite end. And that's when they hide their head or they shake. But I always talk as I'm approaching them also. So I'm not startling them.
One quick question that we have, just quickly going back to litter box. The question was, how do you clean the litter box when you have this type of problem? Kelly, which problem, the fearful or?
I lost everything.
Yeah, so fearful. So when you have a fearful bunny, and I think you just talked about it, so
yes,
you just sort of put it in such a place that will be easily accessible for you, but the bunny has a place to hide away from you?
Yes. And also fearful bunnies, I always make sure they either have a carrier or a wooden box, something to hide in.
Okay.
That gives them a level of comfort.
One question, my instinct would be that if someone who had their first bunny who was behaving like this, my advice would be to bring him back to the shelter so we can pair him off with an experienced rabbit owner. Or would you try to talk them through and explain it's going to take a year, but here are the steps you need to take?
I think it would be a feeling of, is that person making a serious commitment to it or not?
Okay, good point.
One of the most famous rabbits in today's world is owned by Shai Leiter. Go check out Binny the Bunny. This bunny's amazing. He was a first-time bunny owner, but he was so ridiculously committed, this bunny has become world famous. Literally, he just won a People's Choice Award.
Oh my goodness.
Social media animal of 2018. But the man didn't know what he was doing, but he sought advice, he researched, and he did everything right.
Great. Love it.
Yeah. Okay, multiple rabbit households. Now, I assume when you talk about new rabbit, introducing a new rabbit to an older rabbit, to an existing rabbit.
Resident.
Never put them together immediately. What we suggest before you get a new rabbit, if they're calling that they want to get one, is take your rabbit to the shelter or rescue to do speed dating. Rabbits are just like people. They're very fussy about who they want to hang with, and don't pick a rabbit for yourself. Let your rabbit pick his or her own rabbit. Two of the things that people do to do a quick intro is they put them in a carrier together, throw them in the car, well, put them in the car, and drive them around. They're in a stressful situation in a small area, and they don't fight because they don't know what's going on. They're kind of in panic mode, so they just stay there. Or you put them in a bathtub together, a dry bathtub, of course, and just have them together where they're forced to be together. Then what you do is you take two X-pens, because we don't really want to suggest they go into two small cages. Put the X-pens next to each other. They have everything separate. They're living separately, but they see each other. They can interact through the wire. Now, sometimes they will fight through the wire. If they're doing that, put the wire 2 inches apart, just enough that they can't get to each other. And once you see them sitting next to each other, where they're sprawled out, relaxed, napping next to each other in the wire, then you could start short introduction playtimes supervised. And if they play well, you can make it longer and longer and longer until they are able to be left together all the time. Now, many times we have people call us. It's been a week, they're not getting along. It took 6 months for 2 of my rabbits to become bonded. I just recently worked with one of our adopters who adopted a second rabbit. It took her a good month and a half for them to even get to play together. And now they're loving life together and they're best buds. But she reached out to us, and I worked with her literally every day for 10 days because she was so worried. And she has a great bonded pair now because she, she followed my advice and she was committed to it.
So I need to go back for a second to the whole idea of, throwing them in the same carrier or in the tub. Were you truly suggesting that? Is that a suggestion?
Well, I have never done it. I'd rather do the slow and easy method.
Yeah, just out of, the lowest amount of stress possible, I would not recommend that either. That goes into the realm of flooding, and that is just not pretty and not nice.
Yeah. And sometimes people do this because they have no options for a couple of reasons. However, no, we don't recommend it.
Right. So just be clear that that is definitely not recommended.
Yeah.
I have a question too. You were talking about bringing the bunnies in to meet the potential adopter. How is that done? Do you just set the carrier in front of the cage and see how they react, or how do you let them choose each other?
Well, hopefully the staff members know the rabbits enough, and the rabbits at the shelter. Mm-hmm. And then you have the owners should know their rabbit enough to tell the kind of personality. You don't want to put two dominant rabbits together. You don't want to put a rabbit that is a bully with a very timid rabbit.
Right.
So you got to know your rabbits.
So you sort of essentially, you're leaving that up to the owner and the adoption agency, wherever they're going.
Okay.
To find the new
best match.
Okay.
And then you put them together in a pen with two people in the pen with them.
Okay.
Or one on each side.
One on each side, so that if they start fighting, you can grab them.
Okay.
One of the things you can do instead of grabbing them, which may scare them more, is just have a towel, throw it over one of the rabbits. And then you stop that rabbit and you can pick them up with the towel.
This would be an exercise that the owner and the shelter agents would deal with, right?
Right.
Correct. Yes.
I think we can move on from that. So,
yeah.
Two resident rabbits fighting. And I think the point to this particular situation is this will go into the realm of aggression. And if you have fighting and aggression or biting and aggression, you don't deal with it. So you go right to, we will have somebody call you back. So it'll filter through me then to Denise.
What I will say, though, is to separate the rabbits immediately.
Okay, fair enough.
Because one of the things we tell people who are looking to bond rabbits, that you always have to be prepared. If your rabbits don't bond, are you willing to have two separate livable enclosures for your rabbits? There are some rabbits that will never bond.
Yeah, so I think, again, we'll still, so of course, err on the side of caution and keep them separated, but then move forward into working with somebody that knows a lot about rabbits and rabbit behavior.
Right.
So just going into briefly, the one of my bonded rabbits passed away.
Yes. A lot of people right away want to get another rabbit because my rabbit's lonely. Your rabbit may not be lonely. Your rabbit may be grieving just as you are. And you have to give it time to grieve, but don't leave it alone. Your rabbit needs you. So sit with it, pet it, cuddle it, give it so much attention so that they know you're grieving too and they're getting the attention. Because some rabbits you will find after a certain time, if you know your rabbit, you'll realize that he's looking for company again, and you go out and you do some speed dating and see if he or she wants another rabbit friend. And some rabbits are like, nope, that's it. I'm a one rabbit love and I don't want anybody else but my human. And that's, case by case, but let them grieve. If at all possible, let your surviving rabbit smell the dead rabbit. They understand that better than if the rabbit just disappeared. and they will be looking for the rabbit.
Okay, so grooming. I just want to see what else. Okay, good. We're
Yeah.
getting there.
Grooming, brushing. That brush actually looks way too big for that little tiny bunny. I hope he grows into it.
So I just want to back up for a minute. I'm curious to know why, in general, grooming is how they love it so much. Like what, and how do they do it in the wild? Is it just domestic bunnies that like it so much?
Okay, do you like massages?
Of course.
Well, there's your answer. It feels good. They do need to be groomed so that the hair comes out.
Yep.
Because otherwise they get the hair necklaces in their poo.
Yes.
But they are meticulous, clean animals. They really hate to be dirty.
Okay.
I find it amazing. The whiter the rabbit, the cleaner they are. It's like they're so proud of their white coats.
Oh.
And they groom all the time, but there's spots. They can't get the very top of their back. They can't get behind their neck. So they need to be groomed. So if they're an only rabbit, if they don't have another rabbit to groom them, you have to groom them. So they love their ears massaged inside and out. They love if you go, can you see my mouse going back and forth?
No.
Okay. And around their neck, just run your fingers up and down the side of their neck and their jowls. They love that. Another thing I do when I'm grooming or holding a rabbit that I want to mention is I play with their feet all the time. I pull on their toenails. I press their pads because it makes nail trimming easier.
Oh,
And it's just a normal behavior.
smart.
So I'm always playing with their feet. Brushing, the small wire cat brushes work the best, but it depends on the rabbit and the coat. If you have a long hair Angora, they need to be brushed every single day. And I joke that when you start at one end, by the time you get to the next end, the first end is knotted again. It's it's so frustrating. Angoras really should be shaved down a couple of times a year. But short hair, even the short hair, they need to be brushed. And molting.
And they like it, right? They
love it.
Okay.
Now, yes, like a Bichon. Some of them, like certain brushes. I have one who hates a brush but loves the grooming glove. Just melts under me. I talk about a flat bunny. I put the glove on her and she just becomes flatter than a pancake. Combs for longer hair. You kind of work the hair apart with a comb in your fingers. Another thing when you're brushing them is that's a good time for you to check bunny butt. Just kind of turn them a little and check that they're clean on their butt area, that nothing's sticking to them.
Molting.
Molting is horrible. Some molt a lot.
What is molting? Is that shedding?
Yeah, shedding.
Okay.
In the spring and the fall, it's horrible. I have one bunny who literally everything comes off of him within 24 hours and you're walking through a dust storm. Others that will take a week. One of mine molts year round.
Oh, you froze.
So it depends on the fur, on the kind of rabbit.
Oh, uh-oh.
Is anybody there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Is there anybody out there? Oh, no.
Oh,
there we are.
Good.
Oh.
Kelly had a question. Is shedding different than molting?
No, same thing.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to move on. Rabbit proofing we talked about a little bit, but I also just wanted you guys to see this picture.
They have the wire up, which is good. I wish they had showed a picture of some electrical stuff being. I also, my wire in my living room did not work with the plastic things from Home Depot, so I wrapped it in electrical tape. They don't like electrical tape, so they don't touch that one.
Good to know.
I heard years ago someone say to rub your wires with Tabasco sauce, which sounded terrible. Is there truth to that?
I don't know, because I don't want food all over my wires in my bedroom and living room.
Good point.
That could attract mice.
And yeah, I
Right,
had
right,
it. I
right.
had
Dumb
a
idea.
dog. I used to put chili powder.
Oh, we lost her again. Oh, so Kelly, you're saying that the Tabasco would evaporate.
It just sounded like a mean idea.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't do it. And if you note in this picture, they have the wooden bed, they have the tunnel.
Yes,
Yep,
that's a pretty cool setup.
yep. And they have the dog crate. I love the dog crate idea because to them, that's their bedroom. So rabbit proofing. The other thing is if you have furniture that has special meaning to you, like grandmother made it or something, make sure it's rabbit proof because guaranteed they will know it's special and so they'll specially chew it.
Okay, resources. As you see, Denise is the first one there. Oh, there you are.
Yep. The other thing is the small animal resources. So that would work too.
So we had another question. How do you rabbit proof wood?
You put wire in front of it. You keep the bunnies away from it. You can't really do anything to the wood.
You just avoid it.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things that I do with my rabbits communicate by thumps. Thumps mean danger or beware. So if my rabbits, when my little boy first came in my house, he thought my kitchen cabinets, which are custom kitchen cabinets, were delicious. Every time he went near one, I thumped my foot real hard.
Oh.
Well, he decided that these cabinets are dangerous because somebody's thumping. So yeah, he doesn't do them.
Okay.
I communicate in rabbit. One of the things I also do when you see two bonded rabbits together, they love to put their foreheads together. And just kind of reminds you of the mind meld from Star Trek. When I'm sitting with my bunnies, I will put my forehead up against their forehead and just sit with them and they'll sit there.
Oh.
So I'm bonding with them that way.
All right, so moving on to resources. Like I said, Denise is there for the first one. Definitely, don't hesitate to contact myself or her because I will definitely refer to her anyway. She mentioned House Rabbit Network and then House Rabbit Society. So I want you guys to check out these resources for the next couple of weeks and just, again, familiarize yourself. Here's the deal with what we're going to be doing with the helpline. So looking ahead, and just so you're aware of the plans, my plan is that we finish up these trainings. And again, if we have to do a couple of extras, that's okay too, especially with our recording. We are going to be finishing up and then doing a couple of weeks of, run-throughs. So we're going to have our friends and family calling the helpline, and you guys are going to be practicing with listening to messages, checking the email, and replying and calling people back for those couple of weeks. Just sort of dry runs, run-throughs, just to make sure you're feeling comfortable. So that'll be for a couple of weeks. So I'm thinking between, the beginning to the middle of June, we'll actually be going live, which means that I will be sending it out through social media. We'll do a media spot for it. And then also we'll have little cards or something like that we'll be passing around in each shelter. I'll have it around at different vet clinics. Basically advertising it as much as humanly possible. Because I want you guys to be getting some traffic. I want to make sure that you're spending all this time and you're actually going to be able to use it and use the new knowledge that you have. But also, I have to be honest, this helpline is one of the biggest resources that the Animal Rescue League of Boston is going to have that's going to promote keeping pets in their homes. So not to make you nervous or anything, but you guys are really going to be on the front lines of doing everything that you guys can in your power with your knowledge as a team to keep the animals in their homes, which is a huge part of what the mission is for the Animal Rescue League of Boston. So, it's really going to be a big deal. So I want to make sure we spend as much time as we need in order to make sure that you guys feel really, really comfortable with everything that we're doing. So again, we are breaking it up into a couple of weeks of time so that you have a couple of weeks to sort of focus on, you know, different things that you might have questions about and that sort of thing. So just so you have an idea of what our plan is for the future and how important you guys are going to be to us as an organization. So anything you wanted to add?
One quick comment, which is a fabulous resort. House Rabbit Network has a list of rabbit approved vets on there in the Massachusetts area. It's awesome. I wish we could add more to it.
Awesome.
But it is very good because people will say, I don't know where to go, and it's on there.
Good. So that's all we have for today, and it is just about the amount of time because I have class. So the other thing I wanted to say is thank you so much. I apologize for the change in time. I do have a dog training class starting in Dedham here at 6 o'clock. So for the next few sessions, we will be meeting at 4:30 to 6 for each of the sessions. But again, they will be recorded, and we will be doing lots of dry runs and talking and all of that so that we are 100% sure that you're ready to roll when we go live.
And are you going to send this out so that we can replay it?
Yes.
Great,
So the link will be sent out either later on this evening or tomorrow morning. And I'll send the resources that Denise spent time putting together and make sure that you guys, you know, have everything that you need. I'll send out the PowerPoint too. So if you're going through the thing again, you have the PowerPoint on paper that you can take notes on to keep in your files. So for now, that's it. Denise, did you have any closing remarks?
I love bunnies.
Thank you so much, Denise, for putting all this together and for all of your time this evening too. And any questions, again, we do have the group email. One disclaimer with the group email. I'm totally cool. I love group email. I love being able to contact all of you as a group, as a team. The one thing I will ask is that the questions be as a group and my replies with answers will be as a group. The one thing I want to stay away from is the little replies that come back of thanks or okay or any of that. I want to sort of avoid any of that sort of reply. But it's going to be the questions that are all reply all, and then the answers will be reply all as well. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Great. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And
thank you, Denise. This was great.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you again.
Bye-bye.